The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Chapter 5. When I came home to West Egg that night, I was afraid for a moment that my house was on fire. 2 o'clock and the whole corner of the peninsula was blazing with light, which fell unreal on the shrubbery and made thin elongation glints upon the roadside wires. Turning a corner, I saw that it was Gatsby's house, lit from tower to cellar. At first, I thought it was another party, a wild rot that had resolved itself into hide and go seek and sardines in the box. Without the house thrown open to the game, but there wasn't a sound, only a wind in the trees, which blew the wires and made the lights go off and on again, as if the house had winked into darkness. As my taxi groaned away, I saw Gatsby walking toward me across his lawn. "Your place looks like a world's fair," I said. "Does it?" He turned his eyes toward it absently. "I have been glancing into some of the rooms. Let's go to Coney Island, old sport, in my car." "It's too late." "Well, suppose we take a plunge in the swimming pool?" I haven't made use of it all summer. I've got to go bed." "All right." He waited, looking at me with surprised eagerness. "I talked to Miss Baker," I said after a moment. "I'm going to call up Daisy tomorrow and invite her over here to tea." "Oh, that's all right," he said carelessly. I don't want to put you to any trouble." "What day would suit you?" "What day would suit you?" "What day would suit you?" He corrected me quickly. I don't want to put you to any trouble, you see." "How much the day after tomorrow? How about the day after tomorrow?" He considered for a moment. Then, with reluctance, "I want to get the grass cut," he said. We both looked down at the grass. There was a sharp line where my ragged lawn ended and the darker, well-kept expanse of it began. I suspected that he meant my grass. "There's another little thing," he said uncertainly, and hesitated. Would you rather put it off? Would you rather put it off for a few days?" I asked. "Oh, it isn't about that, at least." He fumbled with a series of beginnings. "Why?" I thought. "Why, look here, old sport. You don't make much money, do you?" "Not very much." This seems to reassure him, and he continued more confidently. "I thought you didn't. If you'll pardon you see, I carry on a little business on the side, a sort of sideline. You understand? You understand? And I thought that if you don't make very much, you're selling bonds, aren't you, old sport? Trying to. Well, this will interest you. It would take up much of your time, and you might pick up a nice bit of money. It happens to be a rather confidential sort of thing. I realized how that under different circumstances that conversation might have been one of the crises of my life. But because of the offer was obviously and tactlessly for a service to be rendered. I had no choice except to cut him off there. "I've got my hands full," I said. "I'm much obliged, but I couldn't take on any more work. You wouldn't have to do business with Wolfsheim." Evidently, he thought that I was shying away from the from the uh, connection from the connection mentioned at lunch. But I assured him he was wrong. He waited for a moment longer, hoping I'd begin a conversation, but I was too absorbed to be responsive. So he went unwillingly home. The evening had made me lightheaded and happy. I think I walked into a deep sleep as I entered my front door, so I don't know whether or not Gatsby went to Coney Island, or for how many hours he glanced into rooms while his house blazed gaudily. I called up Daisy from the office next morning and invited her to come to tea. Don't bring Tom, I warned her. What? Don't bring Tom. Who's Tom? She asked innocently. The day agreed upon was pouring rain. At 11 o'clock, a man in raincoat, dragging a mower, tapped at my front door and said that Mr. Gatsby had sent him over to cut my grass. This reminded me that I had forgotten to tell my Finn to come back. So I drove into Westweg village to search for her among soggy, whitewashed alleys and to buy some cups and lemons and flowers. The flowers were unnecessary, for at 2 o'clock a greenhouse arrived from Gatsby's with innumerable receptacles to contain it. An hour later the front door opened nervously, and Gatsby, in a white flannel suit, silver shirt, and gold-collared tie, hurried in. He was pale, and there was dark signs of sharplessness beneath his eyes. Is everything all right? Yes, immediately. The grass looks fine, if that's what you mean. What grass? He inquired blankly. Oh, the grass in the yard? Oh, the grass in the yard. He looked out the window at it, but judging from his expression, I don't believe he saw a thing. Looks very good, he remarked vaguely. He remarked vaguely. One of the papers said they thought the rain would stop about 4. I think it was the Journal. Have you got everything you need in the shape of tea? I took him into the pantry, where he looked a little reproachfully at Finn. Together we scrutinized the 12 lemon cakes from the delicatessen shop. I looked at him in the well, will they do? I asked. Of course, they're fine. And he added hollowly, old sport. The rain cooled about half past three to a damp mist, through which occasional thin drops swam like dew. Gatsby looked with vacant eyes through a copy of Clay Economics, starting at the finish thread to shook the kitchen floor and peering towards the bleared windows from time to time as if a series of invisible but alarming happenings were taking place outside. Finally, he got up and informed me, in an uncertain voice, what he was going home. Why's that? Nobody's coming to tea. It's too late. He looked at his watch as if there was some pressing demand on his time elsewhere. I can't wait all day. Don't be silly. It's just 2 minutes to 4. He sat down miserably, as if I had pushed him, and simultaneously there was a sound of motor turning into my lane. We both jumped up, and a little Harold myself, I went into the yard. Under the dripping bare lilac trees, a large open car was coming to the drive. It stopped. Daisy's face tipped sideways beneath the three-cornered lavender hat, looked out at me with a bright, ecstatic smile. Is this absolutely where you live, my dearest one? The exhilarating ripple of her voice was a wild tonic in the rain. I had to follow the sound for it for a moment, up up and down with my ear alone, before my words came through. A damp streak of hair lay like a dashed blue paint across her cheek, and her hand was wet and glistening drop as I took it to help her from the car. Are you in love with me? She said in a low ear. Or why did I have to come alone? This is a secret of Castle Rackrent. Tell your chauffeur to go away and spend an hour. Come back in an hour, Ferdy. Then, in a great murmur, his name is Ferdy. Does this gasoline affect his noise? I don't think so, she said innocently. Why? Affect his nose. We went in. To my overwhelming surprise, the living room was deserted. Deserted. Well, that's funny. That's funny. I exclaimed. What's funny? Well, that's funny. I exclaimed. What's funny? She turned her head as there was a light dignified knocking at the front door. I went out and opened it. Gatsby, pale as death, with his hands plunked like weights in his coat pockets, was standing in a puddle of water, glaring tragically into my eyes. With his hands still in his coat pockets, he stalked by me and into the hall, turned sharply as if he were on a wire, and disappeared into the living room. It wasn't a bit funny. Aware of the loud beating of my own heart, I put my door to against the increasing rain. The hot minute there wasn't a sound. Then, from the living room, I heard a sort of choking murmur and part of a laugh, followed by Daisy's voice and a clear artificial note. I certainly am awfully glad to see you again. A pause. It endured horribly. It had nothing to do in the hall. I went into the room. Gatsby, his hands still in his pockets, was reclining against the mantelpiece in a strained counterfeit of perfect ease, even of boredom. His head leaned back so far that it rested against the face of the defunct mantelpiece clock. And from this position, his distraught eyes stared down at Daisy, who was sitting, frightened but graceful, on the edge of a stiff chair. Okay. So I think that's for today. It's too much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.